Question all, and welcome to the latest episode of the Fearless in Devotion podcast, sponsored by the Fat Boar Bar and Restaurant. We told you that this week we would be doing a special FA Cup draw edition. We weren't lying. We honestly weren't going to bottle it if we got a crap draw, honest. But as it would happen, the football gods did us a solid favour and gave us a home tie against Nottingham Forest of the Premier League. Tim, we're still pretty fresh off the back of that. What's your immediate thoughts?
Happy, mate. I mean, we said all along that we felt that we were overdue a Premier League team, or we just seemed to keep missing the opportunity when we kind of ever got to this stage in recent years. So, yeah, great draw. Premier League team can't ask much more than that. Massive, massive history. What, European Cup winners twice, is it? I think at the top of my
Yeah.
head, I should know that. Um, and there's a bit of a kind of storied history, I suppose. You can even mention Gary Mills, which is one before we just pre-aired them. But
Bloody
Gary
hell, yeah.
Gary Mills, Lewis O'Brien, former player of theirs. Obviously, Nico Williams from Kevin Mauer, local lad, done well. Playing for them now and playing really well for them. Steve Cooper obviously got them to the Premier League, lives locally. Obviously, now he's managing abroad. Andy Marriott, legend Andy Marriott of yesteryear. So some nice little links between the clubs. But yeah, bizarrely, I put a picture up before of our former captain Tony Humes holding the FA Cup, and that original picture has actually got Sean Dyche in it. Obviously because he was captain of Chesterfield at the time when we ended up losing to them in the quarterfinals back in, oh God, I can't remember now. Is it 95, 96? I think it was
Yeah.
around that 94, 95. One
No,
of them, I can't
97.
remember.
Was it 97?
97 it was, yeah, you're right, because obviously they,
Yeah.
they ended up losing to Middlesbrough, and they were robbed basically by if goal line technology had been in proper place then they wouldn't have been robbed. But yeah, so what a strange turn of events that is. But they've had a weird season. Forest, they're sort of having this sort of change in manager. They got a bit of a interesting character in Marinakis as chairman. Um, I think it'll be televised. Let me just have a look at the others. I can't remember off the top of my head now because it got carried
There was
away
an old
that way.
Premier League tie, United versus Man United versus Brighton, which I
Yeah,
think the broadcasters tend to, well, not least because Man United are involved, but the broadcasters te tend to go for that. But yeah,
yeah. I
I
mean,
think it's got a chance.
Charlton, Chelsea, arguably.
Mm.
Um, and then you're looking at Liverpool, Barnsley, probably. Maxfield Palace got a chance. And then yeah, sort of you got the Eddie Howe derby, Newcastle United, Bournemouth. Um, those are the main ones that are standing out for me from a televisual point of
The
view. But
football purists are gonna hate this game, aren't they? Sean Dyche versus Phil Parkinson. The
yeah,
hipsters are going to be absolutely fuming if
fuming.
that's on telly.
Oh yes, they will be disgusted at that. It's just going to be hoofball and defending. There's going to be no culture to it whatsoever.
I think they should
Um,
be forced to watch it with like their eyes pinned open like that.
yeah, I just think it's great. I think it's we can't ask. And I'm not going to sit here and say it's winnable because that's arrogant. Um, but it's a good test against a good team.
Yeah.
Was it last season they did really well? I think it was last season. The wheels have come off a little bit this year, and they've had to kind of regather their composure, make a few changes, and go again. And got a very good squad, got some very good players, and a very decent manager, to be said, who sort of knows what it takes to keep teams in and around that level and keep them competitive. So I like the fact that, with the greatest respect to a lot of other clubs, it's Nottingham Forest. Anybody know you say Nottingham Forest to most people, they'll probably go, "Oh, Brian Clough," and kind of
Yeah.
those trailblazers of yesteryear that you think of. So, and it's nice to have a bit of a ding dong with a Nottingham team again. It wasn't that long ago um, that we were obviously having the race to the title with Notts
These
County,
ones
and
like being called knots as well, don't they? Famously, they like it if you call them knots
they
Forest,
do
don't they?
the other opposite sides of the River Trent. But yeah, they're going to have to play their change kit. They won't be in red and white that day. But yeah, I can't grumble at that one. It's a Premier League
No,
team at home. It'd be nice to keep it on a Saturday. I hope they don't change it too suddenly and have it on a Friday night or anything, but we'll see.
I think much is going to depend on what sort of, what their priorities are, what Sean Dyche his real priority, keeping them in the Premier League, keeping them doing well there. That it's obviously not unheard of for Premier League teams to put out weakened sides. I mean, we don't know that for a fact. We're hoping more than anything, but if they did do that, then it's potentially winnable. I
That,
mean, it's the FA
yeah,
Cup. Any
and
games.
let's be honest, they're in 17th as it stands. 4 wins from 15, 15 points, 2 points above the drop zone. But they're fortunate, if you like, in the sense that there are at least two teams easily worse off than them. Wolves are stinking the place out. It's going to take something the impossible job for Rob Edwards to drag them out of that mess. They're on course for being the worst Premier League team of all time.
Yeah.
They haven't won yet in 14 games. So then you got Burnley not really doing it unless Parker gets the axe and they chuck somebody else in there. West Ham again, change of management. And then it's just tight. Then you're looking. You've got Forest, Leeds, Fulham, Brentford, Bournemouth, only
Yeah.
5 points separating 13th to 17th. So yeah, but a lot will change between now and that date, which it's around. Was it's the weekend of the 10th of January, isn't it? I think
Yes.
so
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
that one. But it'd be very interesting, wouldn't it? Because by the time we get to that, both teams could have new players. January
Yeah.
transfer window bursts open, and we've now got a few more quid in the coffers, Liam, which we'll come to shortly. Not
Yeah.
necessarily for players, but we'll,
Fingers
we'll, we'll
crossed.
see. We'll see. But yeah, you've got to be happy as well, haven't you? It's a great draw.
Yeah, massively. I was. I'll be honest. I was ecstatic that time when we were in the National League and we drew Stoke just for the fact it was a Premier League team. The football gods haven't been the kindest to us in the recent past in terms of decent draws, but that one is not to be sniffed at whatsoever. I think we talked at the weekend about when you go. I know we're not going to Nottingham Forest, but when you talk about teams with history, clubs with a
Mm.
history, that's a team you would always look at. I just wanted to pick up on a contentious point of the draw for me. When our name came out,
Yeah.
what have we done to upset Brackley Tech, the
I don't
children
know.
of the youth of, was it
I
Kevin
mean,
Wilkin
well,
loyalists?
we returned Kevin Wilkin to them even in even finer fettle than what it was because he's had two spells there now, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I can
I
sympathise with them if they're Wilkin fans. I'm a big fan of the man himself, but I don't know.
tell you what,
It's
this will sound arrogant now, but I guarantee you, if we'd have drawn Brackley, then there would have been cheers. There would have been cheers. So you got to take the booze with the cheers because it's like, well, if you can't get one of the big fishes, get one that people know about in a different regard. So
That was a
yeah.
chaotic draw as well, like compared to the usual BBC. Well, you had someone like Joe Cole was having to lift his arm up like this to go in because he had a load of
So like
kids stood
like
next
like
to
like the
him.
drunken Rod Stewart style that time. Yeah, it was a little bit, but by the same token, I just like the fact they just got on with it. It
Yeah,
wasn't like 15, 20 minutes of meaningless chatter and air filling of like, oh yeah, let's talk about this, let's talk about or any sort of patronizing stuff about how little Weston-super-Mare deserve this or deserve that. And speaking of little clubs, obviously Shrewsbury got a great draw in Wolves. Winnable.
yeah.
You have to say it's winnable
That would be
considering
an interesting tie as well.
and
That's
and not a million miles apart at all. What derby's that? Who's that
Sam
fella that
Rickett
plays?
now.
Well, yes, Sam Ricketts and Dave Edwards. That's who I was
Yeah.
thinking of. Dave Edwards. Boo, and I'm gonna wash my mouth out with soapy water. Um, yeah, great. Onwards. But
We were gonna. I was gonna say
we've got a lot to contend with before then. But all I would say now, and I'll go on, I think Parky will not mess much with that team against Nottingham Forest as he did against our friends from South Wales not so long ago, which we don't need to keep labouring that point anymore. But
no, but it was a turning point, and that's sort of
yeah.
positive you have to take from it. But we were talking before we came on air about previous encounters. Now, as far as I can tell from a very reliable website called 11v11, we've only ever played Nottingham Forest 3 times, and each
All
of
in
those
cups.
was in cup competitions. Now, Tim, were
Mm.
you there for any of said
I
cup
was.
ties?
I was there the last two, which was obviously at that point the League Cup was held over two legs. Which always made it for an interesting battle. Our first game was three each. Stan Collymore, the then very young, marauding Stan Collymore got a wonderful hat trick. I remember, I'm sure it was on a Tuesday night that game. They had a classic kit, both classic kits then. Easy to say that now, but they were classic kits then at the time. I think Gary Bennett scored twice for us. John Paskin, super sub Johnny Paskin, got another three each, and we went. Loads of us went to Forest. Again, midweek game, and great atmosphere in the away end. And we had the yellow Wrexham Lager kit, ENS kit, where it was stacked. So you had the badge there, and you had the badge underneath in Wrexham Lager, and like sort of like a square collar, without being too kit purist on you. And with like sheeny green shorts with a yellow stripe on them. And we lost that game 3-1, I think, unless you tell me otherwise. I'm pretty sure we lost
Nope,
that
3-1, you're
3-1.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mel Pedgick, defender Mel Pedgick, probably the smallest man on the pitch, scored with a header, which sent us give us something to cheer about that day. But yeah, you know what? Take it. I'm assuming that replays count in the FA Cup. I'm kind of showing my age a bit now, but replays do count. It's not like the League Cup where you have to settle it on the day. There's replays in the FA Cup, isn't there? I'm just thinking
Ooh,
in
good
modern game, there's been
question.
so much that's changed recently.
Oh, good
Did
question,
they
because
change
I
it?
seem to think something has changed
Yeah.
about the FA Cup. I'm on the spot, so I'll do some
Okay.
research.
Because I going on about the City Ground. City Ground's a great, great, great
Here we go.
ground.
FA Cup replays will be scrapped from the first round onwards. This was
Oh,
24-25
oh,
competition.
there we are.
Um,
Boo. So it's got to be settled on the day.
hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, looks like it. Are there replays in the
Oh,
FA Cup?
it's a bit rubbish.
Yeah. So
Rubbish. Never
that's
mind.
say they've killed it. They've killed the FA Cup.
Yeah, I think I remember reading at the time that you were robbing, let's say a small club, drew at home against Spurs. They would be robbed of a replay at Spurs and all the monies that come with it. So yeah, it does ring a bell now.
Here we go.
Um,
I've got it here. FA Cup replays were scrapped from the first round onwards
mm,
after an agreement by the FA and the Premier League came into effect last season to ease calendar congestion.
boo.
Still
Shit.
replays in the qualifying rounds, but yeah, that is. So we decided in extra time if the game was drawn in 90 minutes, if not by a penalty shootout.
Ah,
Ooh.
what's worse, scrapping FA Cup replays or whinging Mo Salah because he can't get on the football pitch? That's wound me up, that has. I was thinking about that today. Like, can you imagine if that was, I don't know. Look at you. You could kind of almost use Mullen as an example, I suppose.
Yeah.
If he was still knocking around and he was like, "Oh well, I've earned my place in that team. I should be getting picked anyway." You'd just be furious, wouldn't you? It's like, at what point do you start living in Cloud Cuckoo land and lose any sort of sense of reality and losing any touch with the fans that pay your wages? Is
I think it's
quite
just the small sample size of games, isn't it? And like you say, doing it in public, like I don't, we have no idea if Mull's grumbled behind the scenes, but I think the public nature of it is probably why people lose sympathy in that instance.
yeah.
Uh,
No, and
um,
obviously we only use that as an example. Mullin has conducted himself perfectly fine. I think there's a
yeah,
little bit of a grumble in the documentary, wasn't there? But nothing outwardly that said I'm disgusted that I'm not playing. There's nothing,
it didn't
none of
say
that.
I don't have a relationship with Phil
No, and you
Wilkinson,
wouldn't.
etc., etc.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
because he respects the manager. Whereas I would argue that maybe there's no respect for the current Liverpool manager from the current Egyptian king. But there you go. We're going
Hmm.
off tack here. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've done Nottingham Forest. Should we move on to the day's other big news, which I wasn't expecting? I don't know about you.
Even richer.
Yeah, we are chuffing rich. I'll go through the sort of PR bump. So, Apollo Sports Capital, US-based sports investment firm, have been announced as new minority stakeholders in Wrexham. Rob and Ryan retain control as my majority owners, which I think is quite important to most people. And the Apollo funding specifically will be going a large chunk of it towards the redevelopment of the ground, including the new COP. Robin Ryan said in a statement it will help ensure a sustainable future for the club. The link here with this company appears to be Al Tylis, who, if you recall, when we invested in, well, not when Robin Ryan invested in Necaxa and
Mm.
Colombian side La Equidad, Al Tylis was involved there as part of a wider consortium. So he's what links this all together.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll Tyler's ex biog says owner, coach, Club Necaxa, Equidad Football, Brooklyn Pickleball. Is it a Brooklyn
Oh, that
Pickleball?
famous, yeah.
Yeah,
Brooklyn
founder of
Pickleball.
Instagram with the Tylus Family Foundation. Um, yeah, there you go. Not so active on X, it would seem, by his 388 followers. So yes, that's a
But yeah,
worry.
he's. I mean, there's also mention of there of it fueling our Premier League aspirations as well. So is it just going to be on the infrastructure side, or will there be an element of funding for on the pitch as well? Will be interesting to see in January. I mean, I think we've said it a few times, but if we're still in this current position, 3 points off the playoffs come January, then I just don't see anything other than, some significant investment. I was speaking to Kieran Maguire, football finance expert, last week, and he said, we're in a decent position PSR wise,
Mm.
financial regulations, so he doesn't see any reason why we wouldn't invest in January. Could be interesting times ahead. I mean, we don't know the size of the stake that they've taken or the actual amount that they're investing, but I wouldn't be surprised if, as when the Allens came and invested, we start to see sudden big chunks of money going in on Company's House. Could be interesting times.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, we'll do a little bit of digging on the Apollo investment. But one thing I will say about the owners, they've brought people on board steadily and kind of like done it over time. They haven't just said, right, we're going to have these 50 people in, you're going to have to get used to it. It's like we had a kind of a raft of a few, maybe several, few months back now, maybe the start of the season, was it, or in and around that. There was several kind of brought on board, and they've kind of just been left to their own devices, haven't been held to account, just kind of in the background, doing whatever they need to do, and just getting on with it. And now it's a case of we've got these on board, and I think at the moment you just see it as a headline, you read into it a little bit, you go, okay, that sounds encouraging, and then you do a little bit of a deeper dive into what they would bring, and the amount of money that is there is eye-watering. It's
Yeah.
eye-watering. You think we get excited about the Allen family being on board and what they can bring, not just from a monetary point of view, but in terms of how they go about building communities and so on and so forth. So, I mean, Jesus, it's wild. What a wild, another wild 12 months in
Yeah.
Wrexham Football Club's history. It's not just on the pitch, we're making strides on the pitch, but off the pitch, it's just and I think once this cop gets, you know, motoring, everything's just going to ramp up. Everything is going to ramp up. I think once they get this part of the jigsaw done, you're then going to go, right, next stand, get that done, right,
Yeah.
next stand. And they've got to do it in a way that's not going to impact too much on a sort of match day capability in terms of how many people we can host, and is it going to don't want to affect too much the kind of match day revenue, which is obviously what is currently hampering the moment, but we can offset that against shirt sales and everything else. So we're lucky in that regard.
No, it's
But
bonkers.
it's just crazy, man. Like, we mentioned Notts County there is kind of one of those teams that we've kind of left in our rear view mirror of one of those teams that we've jousted with. And I caught sight of a couple of comments from some Stockport fans yesterday, and they've all got the knives out for Dave Challoner.
Really?
He fuck you Wrexham, we're
Really?
gonna win the league. Yeah,
Wow.
they lost on penalties in the cup to Cambridge United at home, and they were saying this is that several of these are in and around it, and they're not good enough, and people were just saying that the squad is barely good enough for League One, let alone the Championship. So,
What a shame.
well, it's I like it's not.
Far be it from me to gloat at the expense
Well,
of other
I don't want
teams,
to.
but
Yeah, but I think it's just another example of we have a manager who knows what it takes to succeed at this level. You know, he knows exactly what he needs, as the song goes. But where you've got Stockport with Mark Stott and some advisors and a few of the bits that I don't know the full infrastructure what they've got there, but I think with Wrexham, you're always looking 2, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead.
yeah.
Wait, and that's paying off. And Is Dave Challenger on borrowed time at Stockport County? Probably not yet because of what he's achieved there. But again, they were expected to challenge, and they're in and around it. But you look at League One, that is so open. We thought the Championship
Yeah.
was open. I mean, League One is very, very open as well. So
Oh, sad times for Dave.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know if we
worrying.
covered this on the most recent pods, but obviously the ground was broken on, talking about infrastructure and investment. Ground was broken on the new COP last week, and the club's actually
Mm,
provided a bit more of a timeline now. And I think early sort of spring 2027 is now the ETA for the completion of the COP. They've confirmed basically that they don't need to complete it in time for the UEFA competition next year. That won't affect funding in
no,
any regard. So yeah, that's quite interesting. They're saying early 26 concrete cores, whatever they are. This is where I pretend to know about construction, provide stability for the roof. Then the steel frame goes up. So, like we were saying earlier, things are really going to ramp up on this. And I think come the new year, you're really going to see progress increase rapidly on that, which is just a sign of how much money's going into it. These things don't come cheap. I know we've had the debate about the public funding going on in the background, which I sort of wondered, is the announcement partly to allay that? It's saying, look, we've got private investors here who are also putting a fair sum of cash into the new COP. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's sort of deliberately timed to say, well, look, it's not just public funding we're taking here. Other money's coming forward. Not that it seems to have placated the usual social media commentators, but there we go.
there we go. Hey ho, can't keep a good club
Try
foot
'em.
down. Good progressive club. Um, yeah, that's quite a stacked half an hour or so. Considering we were just going to talk about Forest, we talked about a huge, huge cash injection. We talked about how you'd feel if Kiefer and Co did a Salah,
Yeah.
and yeah, and we've got Hull this week, which we I think we covered briefly in the pod, but that'll be an interesting
I
one as well.
noticed team news wise, Joe Gelhardt
Gelhardt,
is an
yeah.
injury out
Hmm.
for Wednesday's game, which would not that I want any player to be injured, but that would be a boost for us if he were not to be available.
I just wish Ollie McBurney wasn't playing. Just,
Oh, you know what'll happen if
I
he scores, don't you?
know.
He's the
And
type that'll give it the big one.
it's there's very, very, very few footballers that really get on my goat. And I said this before we played him in the Carabao. I think he just signed at that time. He scored against us,
Yeah.
didn't he, in that game? Got nothing to do with the fact he's ex-Chester. That's long, long way. That was before he started sprouting facial hair. But it's just the way he is. It's just the way he is. I
That
just
makes him
don't
more
like. I just
likely
don't
to
like.
play,
He's
surely.
very, very unlikable. Very
Yeah.
unlikable. But a very good player at this level. Simple
It's
fact.
going to be an interesting one. I'm not going to the game, but I'll be watching. Just don't, yeah, just curious to see what happens because I think how that, turns out also impacts the Watford game. 3 points against Watford. I'd like to be aiming for that at home, but it probably becomes a bit more important if we lose against Hull. But we shall see. I think we're as we said on the last podcast, we're happy, we're content. Let's just enjoy the ride and see where it takes us.
Yeah, massively, massively. But yeah, great. It's just great. I mean, going back to the FA Cup, it's just nice to be in the third round at this stage.
Yeah.
And like maybe it takes a little bit of gloss off it because we're used to sort of earning that place by
Mm.
virtue of going through the route that we've always known, whether it's third and fourth qualifying rounds or before that, first, second, third, fourth. Oh, great. This is brilliant. So to be in at this stage, big plus of being at this level in, in,
Yeah.
in the in the pyramid. And yeah, I mean, it could have been a far, far worse tie.
Yeah,
Far
I was
worse.
looking at the teams coming out. I don't know about you, and I was just like, not that I was doing the usual, not them. I hope it's
Yeah,
them,
yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Spurs, when Spurs came out and they were at home, I was like, oh, I fancy that. But
yeah.
like you said, you can't moan at this draw. Premier
Oh,
League
no.
club, historic Premier League club.
It's
That's
not
gonna be
even that. It's our home record. Our
yeah,
home record is so good.
Yeah.
under Park. Like we can literally go, well, how many times have we lost at home? And you start thinking Yeovil, Stevenage, Tranmere, MK Dons, QPR, West Brom. You can't think of many more than that. It's not far off the full set. There's not many defeats at home
No.
in 4 years, which is madness.
My only disappointment about not being away though as well is that they won't be able to say that we're the worst team that's been
Yeah.
to their place as well because I'm enjoying that recurring theme. But there we go. Maybe Hull. Maybe that'll be us at
Yeah.
Hull.
Well, we'll get more by the Tigers again if they speak too soon, like they did on that Tuesday night, which is amazingly funny. Because I was stood right next to them, I treated myself to a posher seat, and we were right next to them. They were giving the whole of that, and then Ollie
Ugh.
Palmer came on and went, "Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so." But
Fingers
yeah.
crossed for more happy days against Hull.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know we kind of, or I put it out as the uber positive pod from the other day, but realistically, there's not a huge amount to be grumbling at. There's
Mm.
one thing which come out from the fan advisory board minutes, which is on your side, by the way. So not that I'm saying it's you, but if you hear anybody that does it about that, there'd been an increase in hate-related incidents reported since the
Oh,
dugouts had gone over to that side,
interesting.
which doesn't come as a great surprise, because
Mm.
it doesn't matter where you stick the dugouts. I'm sure there would have been words said from the paddock side as well.
Parky, and not in terms of like encouraging abuse, more encouraging support, but Parky does love getting the Mold
Yeah,
Road lot
and
going
and,
for
and
it.
and that hate-related stuff is quite a vague umbrella term. So it could be directed against the opposition dugout, could be directed against ours. It's impossible to say. But all I would say is that probably not wise to do it at all, and that's why
Make love, not war.
well, you can voice your frustrations in a certain way, can't you? As long as it doesn't cross the line, I guess.
No, I like a good wind up, but it has to be sort of generally good natured and not crossing any boundaries. I heard a shout from somewhere in the Mold Road when we had a female assistant referee the other week. I was like, oh Jesus, I just want the ground to swallow me up. So yeah, none of that, please.
That's mental, isn't it? It is mad. It is mad when you
It's just
like
like it's 2025 and you've seen a woman and it's blown your mind
well,
and
yeah. It's like,
yeah.
well, do you have a daughter? Do you have a sister? Do you have a mother? I'm sure you would have had a mother. So, what if one of those was running the line? What difference? Just yeah, some people are a little bit archaic in their viewing of things. But there we are. We don't want to end on a sour note. We want to end on a high that we have a reasonably good, solid chance to beat Nottingham Forest. I've said that now. It's gonna
Imagine
get
that.
it's gonna get clipped up, isn't it?
It's going to go on the documentary.
I don't. I just. I said at the start of this that it is going to be a tough one, and it will be a tough one. But Wrexham have assembled a handy side that are way above where anybody expected us, including ourselves. You know, so you have to back what's going on ahead of us and go, let's see what happens. I think it'll be another belting game. It's not going to be a nil-niller. I think it'll be full tilt. And they will be noisy. Nottingham Forest fans are
Yeah.
great. They're great. Like, really good fans. They won't shut up. Just want to, again, I think I said this the other day about the certain clubs um, which just live and breathe football. I think I mentioned Newcastle. Nottingham Forest are another one.
Yeah.
Without greatest respect to Notts County, Nottingham Forest, because of what's happened in yesteryear, and then they've had a lean spell. But again, it was one of those. Well, they're everything. They're a Premier League club and anything but a name at the time. And then Steve Cooper, he of the Rossett, Gresford, Marford area, took him back to the
Yeah.
promised land.
Regular in Marford Co-op, I do believe.
Regular Marford co-op. He was on the books of Wrexham as a youngster and did some great guns here. And yeah, has progressed ever since. Where's he at now?
He
He's
is
in Norway, not Norway,
Steve
Sweden.
Cooper manager.
Can't remember now. He's got a good club.
You're making
Oh,
me do
where
my
is he at?
research today. Bromby.
Sorry, Bromby. Yeah, of
Bromby.
course. Yeah, decent. Decent manager. Again,
Yep.
touted to be a future Wrexham manager, so you never know. There's another link there. Another link. So
For now, you'll
let's
have to make do with Parky versus Deitch.
it's gonna be good that.
That'll be
There's
tasty.
gotta be a picture of Parky versus Deitch in the playing days somewhere. There must be.
I want one of them after the FA Cup match, them face to face like that.
That can be on the Gilpin McLean undercard
Imagine.
sticker. One day it might happen. Who knows? Right. Let us know what you think in the comments down here. I'm doing that now, adding things in. Let us know in the comments what you think of the draw. Um, and yeah, yeah, it's just happy with it. Can't argue with that. Happy with it. So let's see what happens.
Cheers, everyone.
Take care.